arduous journey that Africans took against their will, and it really deals with that place that separates us from our homeland.
Can we ever know the home countries of the people who were buried here? Of the 400 humans unearthed, there is not one who is known by name. How then, scientists ponder, will it ever be possible
to construct African-American history?
The technology has just reached people buried in the burial ground who lived in the early 18th century in New York, who had not only come from various parts of Africa, but who had been to or been born in parts of South America, Brazil, and the West Indies.
Using bones that have been buried for several hundred years is certainly one of the more difficult ways of trying to analyze genetic information in a population. But with the available techniques of molecular biology, it certainly should be possible.
History Showcase will continue in a moment.
The brand new limited
pain medications. Now, you know, like millions of people, I worried about the side effects with the daily use of aspirin and over-the-counter pills. These drugs medicate the entire body, but Natural Relief 1222 attacks your pain directly, using microdoses of natural ingredients to stimulate your body's defenses. The result? Safe and effective relief of arthritis, pain, and stiffness. Now, once you try Natural Relief 1222, you'll soon find out that you don't need these. Just this, Natural Relief 1222. It's so effective, it's an official product of the NFL locker rooms.
I treat pain every day, and my first line of treatment is Natural Relief 1222. It doesn't have the gastrointestinal side effects of traditional pills, and Natural Relief 1222 works.
Even with arthritis in my neck, with Natural Relief 1222, no pain.
Thanks to Natural Relief 1222, my shoulders are pain-free.
Natural Relief 1222. It's the best arthritis pain reliever I've ever used.
Order now and get as a special bonus the booklet You Can Still Dance All Night. Call 1-800-417-4334. Order in the next 30 minutes and you'll get a 30-day supply of our special mineral supplement free. You get a 30-day supply of Natural Relief 1222, our informative booklet, and our mineral supplement, all for only $19.95. Order now, 1-800-417-4334. That's 1-800-417-4334. Call 1-800-417-4334.
History Showcase returns to the African Burial Ground in New York City.
Africans came to this continent against their will, speaking many, many languages. They came here in slave ships that we know were reprehensible. Many died on the way here, and a great deal was lost, not just culture as it pertains to a particular African group, but family, language, sense of self, and that is very hard to reclaim.
Language has been lost, but there have been accommodations made in the English language by the African speakers, which almost leveled out the losing of Fanti and Tree and Yoruba and Ahanta and Ashanti, etc. So when two black men meet, black American men, and if they like each other and are working at brotherhood, they say, "Hey, man, how you been?" So there is melodically implied a familial relationship, which if they had the language of Bambara or Bassa, they would have used the words, but they don't have the words, so they use the melody.
And it's good to run across a find like this to let you know that the memory did live, and it did survive the Atlantic Ocean, and it did survive years of enslavement, and it survived, and now we have this tomb that showed us how it survived all the way to the grave. Their tomb happens to be a structure that's maybe 2.5 feet wide, 6 feet long and shorter. It may not be an opulent tomb of the pharaohs, but it's still their tomb. It's their treasure, a real treasure, because it represents a real link
Photographer Chester Higgins has created thousands of images of African cultures throughout the world, contributing to the quest for scientific knowledge and cultural information. All reflect a part of the African diaspora, the movement of African peoples throughout the globe.
Well, when I saw traits in these burials that were African, I was quite moved in an awesome sort of way.
This is an adult, a woman, who has ornamentally filed incisors, which should allow us to understand her specific origins in Africa and her status within that society, perhaps.
Filing teeth at puberty was a ritual in some parts of Africa in the 16 and 1700s. This practice continues in some areas of Africa today.
She is wearing a beaded belt, waist beads, 110 blue and white beads interspersed with cowrie shells, not unlike what Akan women in Ghana sometimes wear. Here's someone who you feel you know as a human being right away because there are such distinctive artifacts.
The archaeological finds in the arid regions of Egypt have survived for thousands of years. In New York, with more rain, more humidity, and greater variation in the weather, the artifacts and skeletal remains at the burial ground, which is relatively young, have not survived as well.
Preservation in dry, arid environments for many objects is better there than here. Pollutants are really now our big concern. The physical remains that I've worked on, say in the Middle East, were more intact than some of the materials that I've seen coming out of the Foley Square site.
The most striking individuals found in the burial ground are those that offer the most information most quickly. I'm impressed by one woman who's buried with her newborn. This is always a touching thing to observe in a burial. Someone who died with a child, surrounded by a scene that must have involved great love and pain.
Examining the teeth of adults, which developed in childhood, can determine at what age he or she experienced a bout of disease or poor nutrition. Analysis of teeth and other bones may even indicate what kinds of food people ate, how much meat or corn or vegetables.
The kinds of diseases and nutritional problems that they had will give us a window on the conditions of their lives, the social and economic conditions that are reflected in the physical quality of life.
In our society, we talk a lot about slaves. These slaves were enslaved persons. Prior to coming here, they were doctors, they were teachers, they were mediators, they were parents. They had occupations, they had skills, they had character. Some were wonderful and probably some were rascals.
They must have assisted in the normal commercial life of the community. And they must have done that in a significant way, else why bring so many to America?
I can see the people who look like that they spent their life plowing a mule, or who prayed to their gods, or the parents who had the awesome responsibility of raising their children. When I look at the paintings left by the ancient Egyptians, people of Kemet, the land of the blacks, I'm really moved by what a document they left behind. And it's because of that document that these visual artists left behind that we know the most about these people.
Those buried in the African burial ground left no paintings. Few images are left, only glimpses. We may one day know from where they came. Left out of our history books, can we ever know again who they were or picture what they did?
So history has a repository of very necessary information, and we must dig it out, and we need science to dig it out. We need scholarship to dig it out. We need research to dig it out. But once all of that is there and put on the table, we need somebody, the imaginative artist, to come along and synthesize it into what vision mankind requires, or man and womankind requires, to make a life at this moment.
Several New York City schools established art programs in response to the burial ground discovery. In community centers, adults, too, learn and try to recreate.
I would love to see young black men and women, young white, young Spanish-speaking, young Native American, just taking it. Something will happen. I don't know what, but it would be very important for the condition, which is the burial site, the condition, which is wounded knee. It's important that the condition of the burial ground act upon them.
This burial ground belongs to the nation as a whole. It speaks to more than just African Americans. It's a national history. There are aspects of this discovery which relate to every single person in this country. Black, white, doesn't matter, because it's a shared history.
I, as an artist, look upon the past as a resource. I would be prepared to let the past bury the past, except that we can't do that. I want the bones to speak to me in ways that makes it possible for me to sit down and tell my grandchildren the marvelous stories about their ancestors, what they did and what they accomplished. And I, as a writer, look upon that, the past, as a source for the stories I need to tell my grandchildren to inspire them to become men and women. That's what it means to me.
History Showcase will continue in a moment.
$99? $99?
That's right. For only $99, you can join the fun in Orlando for 4 days and 3 nights as Walt Disney World celebrates its 25th anniversary. You'll stay at a world-class hotel, enjoy fabulous food, and see your favorite attractions.
$99?
Get our Florida dining discount coupon book published by Entertainment Plus a 3-day, 2-night vacation in Fort Lauderdale, Daytona, or Cocoa Beach.
Space is limited. Call 1-800-861-2449. Must be 25 years of age or older. All major credit cards accepted.
The wind. The power of the wind. The force of nature. Since the beginning of time, man has sought to harness the wind. Now that time has come. The Wind Tunnel Vacuum Cleaner from Hoover with breakthrough wind tunnel technology. Other vacuums scatter much of the dirt, but Wind Tunnel channels the power of the wind, picking up more dirt than any other clean air upright. Hoover tested Wind Tunnel against other leading brands. The difference is remarkable.
My carpets, after vacuuming with the Hoover, look new. They have new life to them.
The embedded dirt finder was great.
We had a lot more dirt than we thought we did.
But then the green light turned on and then everything was done so I could start somewhere else.
It has a microfiltration system. Picks up the dirt and the dust and keeps it trapped in the special microfiltration bag.
Tests have proven that Wind Tunnel with breakthrough Wind Tunnel technology picks up more dirt than any other clean air upright. Wind Tunnel features the exclusive embedded dirt finder, the 6-stage microfiltration system, unique edge groomers, and onboard tool storage.
Because of the long hoses, I was able to put the vacuum in the middle of the room. I didn't have to drag it around with me.
We use 2 vacuum cleaners in this house. I don't need that anymore. I just need a Hoover Wind Tunnel.
The edge groomers, they make it so that like little fingers that are on the side of the vacuum so that it moves the dirt out from the baseboard. So that works great.
And you know, when you have a big investment in carpets, like we have here, it's good insurance.
Every wind tunnel comes with the extra long hose for a 20-foot reach and can be yours for 5 payments of $59.99 with free shipping and handling. If you order now, you'll also receive these special bonus items. Together, that's a $65 value free. So call now.
I'd recommend it to anybody who asks me about a vacuum cleaner. I think you will get your money's worth.
Unleash the power of the wind on your carpets and upholstery with a Wind Tunnel vacuum cleaner. To order or for more information, call now.
I love Hoover Wind Tunnel.
You're a strapping young Viking seeking greener pastures, so off you go to a place you call Vinland. But why don't you settle down there? Set sail with the Viking explorers and discover North America on an all-new In Search of History. Tonight at 8 Eastern, 9 Pacific on the History Channel. Raymond Massey.
Strike the blow of the Lord.
In the saga of firebrand abolitionist John Brown. Movies in Time.
I always call him the catalyst of the Civil War.
7 Angry Men. Tomorrow at 8 Eastern, 9 Pacific on the History Channel. History Showcase returns to the African Burial Ground in New York City.
You know, it's John Rodriguez, the black man, befriending the red man and trading. They're showing him the furs, he's showing them the tools, and it's a mutual exchange. Africans did have great skills when they were taking care of the farms and when they were doing just different chores. You see us working. That's exactly what you see. You see us working, you see us lifting rocks, building fences, you see us plowing the fields. That scene is just showing that, yes, we were a very busy people, whether we wanted to be or not. We didn't really have much choice in the matter, but the fact is that we did build this country. In the burial ground scene, we have a picture of several people standing around a coffin. And this coffin is just a pine box. It's not a good piece of land, it's just a piece of land that nobody else wanted, but that's what we were given to bury our dead.
If I had the privilege of asking those people who were buried in that ground, and if I could ask them one question, it would not be about the details of their life. I know slavery, I know history. I would ask this question: what did you hope for? And all that happened to you, what did you continually hope for and tell your children? That would be the question I would ask them.
The greatest song, greatest piece of art to me, which came out of my people's turmoil, travail here, is sometimes I feel like a motherless child, a long ways from home, a long ways from home. There's a eulogy. That is it. For every soul buried there, that's the statement.
Truly, the function of art at the highest level is to give meaning to brute fact. So yes, this could and should be the beginning of a renaissance culturally. Their lives, their dramas, their dances, their costumes, their speech, their impact on America then and America now could be the source of a new cultural statement by us in this country.
And ultimately, this analysis of these remains will enlarge the discussion about African American culture, what our culture history is as a people, and we await this new information so that we can talk about it.
At the university, the ultimate laboratory examination and analysis began, a process of study that may take as long as 5 to 7 years.
I think the most impressive thing that comes out of all of this is that African American infants and children are represented in skeletal populations at higher rates than European American infants and children. So what we see is that African American children were at greater risk of dying. And therefore what we see during the 18th and 19th century is a pattern of high infant mortality in the African American community that we see today.
In November 1993, the last transport of the unearthed remains was received at Howard. Carried preciously by an elder from the New York community, the contents of the final conveyance were in a small box clad in royal African cloth and offered as one would present a treasure and received in kind.
It was very, very hard for our ancestors. It was hard to be an African in America then, and it's hard to be an African in America today. It's hard to be an Indian in America then, and it's hard to be an Indian in America today. We have those common problems that are confronting us in our society. This song is to prepare the atmosphere, prepare you in your hearts for the ancestors to come in. Through our ancestors, we're all related, right?
From the chapel, the procession continued to the grounds of the Howard University campus for a welcoming libation, an ancient practice of pouring a blessed liquid or spirits upon the ground in honor of ancestors.
This is a very special and historic occasion. It's an occasion where we remember what our ancestors did and left for us, those who came before us. We remember their agony and their happiness and their sorrows. We pour libation on Mother Earth to call on the Almighty Supreme Being for generations to come.
Frederick Douglass and song. Martin Luther King Jr. song. Malcolm X. Malcolm X, my one dinner.
Lorraine Hansberry.
Lawrence Hansberry song.
Mary
Cloud Bethune. Mary Cloud Bethune song.
W.E.B. Du Bois.
W.E.B. Du Bois song.
Sojourner Truth.
Sojourner Truth song.
Means we need unity. We need to become one across the Atlantic Ocean, on the continent, and in the New World. We need to become one in order to build a better future for ourselves and our offsprings, so that those who follow and those who came first will be proud of what we will also leave behind.
And so it is in that spirit that we celebrate our ancestors, many of whom we don't know their names, we don't know where they lived, but we know that we come from them.
This day, November 5th, 1993, is a gift to all of us from our ancestors.
We have the right and the power to look at the past and to demand of the past some answers to the dilemmas we face now. My children cried desperately for a sense of who they are, and to the degree that those bones have something to tell them that helps me fulfill their hunger and their need, that's what takes me to the bones. I hate to disturb the dead except for some good purpose, and this would be a great purpose, to excuse our robbing their graves.
We thank you for what our eyes have seen tonight. Help us to continue to stand on the shoulders of those who went before us. Give us strength and give us a future.
When History Showcase returns, we'll tour Bath, Ohio's Living History Museum at the Hale Farm & Village. Stay with us. History Showcase will continue in a moment.
This week by the Sooners of Oklahoma. The Sooners humiliated the Panthers with a final score of 26-0. Panther players were falling all over themselves, but the Sooners kept falling right into the end zone. Yes, the Gold and Blue were black and blue the week of September 26, 1957, saying cheerio on video, I'm Ray Tannehill for the Pit Parade.
And that's the new
WBU Cruiserweight champ.
The leopard hurriedly bites off chunks of meat from the belly of the cheetah it has killed. But a confrontation is avoided, and the leopard reluctantly abandons its spoils to the tigress. When in danger, leopards will often seek safety in trees, as tigers are not good climbers. She drags it away to a safer spot. Tigers are capable of moving large kills, weighing up to 1,100 pounds with little effort. Discarding the stomach sac to lighten her load, the tigress carries the carcass closer to her cubs. A crested hawk eagle calls to its mate. They often scavenge what's left of tiger and leopard kills.
You stand in the corner, you rush over there. Excuse me, would you like to dance? And then she turned around.
And you know who is the most ugliest person on the earth to me? Shabba Rank. You look like a piece of shit. I'm not lying, I saw 4,000 flies following him one night. Shabba, get a fly away from me. A little fly. And it's hard when you ugly, man. But ugly men, we don't, all we have to do is get nice cars. Huh? Cause I see a lot of ugly men, they get out their car, they be like, you going in the club, man? You're live in there.